Planet Vero Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach. Chris Nolan grew up in New York until he joined the U.S. Marine Corps in 1996. He then joined the U.S. Capitol Police until making the transition to real estate. Shortly after, the Nolan Group was formed. They continue to strive for the best possible experience for buyers and sellers. How can they help you in your journey? And now, here's the Nolan Show with your host, Chris Nolan.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nolan Show, and thanks for spending a little time with us here in the studio. We got my co-host Heather Lewis. How you doing, Heather?
Doing great.
Awesome,
Thanks.
glad to hear it. And of course, we got behind the controls, we got a fresh-looking Jesse with a new haircut, fresh shave, and the whole bit.
Hey,
so
good to be here.
Yeah, we walked in, it was like, whoa, what's going on here? It was a little odd. So, but hope everybody's having a great day out there. And yeah, we're in the new year. We're trying to bring some more content to you guys about really what's out there. And last week we talked about the professionalism and really finding that person that's going to help you get the proper home. So now we want to talk about how to decide what home, right? We've talked a lot about resales, but a lot of us kind of gloss over and forget about the new construction aspect of it.
And no, I was going to say, and I did the same thing when I moved down here. And it's not because I didn't want a new build. It was they were taking too long at the time, but they're not anymore.
Well, yeah. And
we're still taking some time, but.
And if you have somebody that's on a timeline, you know, we still have the fact that maybe it's not right for everybody. But when you have somebody that has specific criteria and I want this kind of layout and I want this in the kitchen and that, there's different builders that do different things. So I think a lot of people out there have a dream of building their dream custom home. Yeah. But realistically, there's a budget involved there that most of us don't have. So we have to figure out somewhere between our budget and what we can, you know, what that'll actually afford us. And that's why we have some really great, you know, builder communities and stuff out there. So you get a new home, you get to choose the floor plan that you like. Maybe it's not quite as customized as you want, but you still get that new home with all the new features and the, you know, the new home smell, which is cool.
The new home smell. Oh,
Absolutely.
Isn't that great? That's like the greatest.
Absolutely. So, and then of course, you know, some of the builders are getting back to those spec homes now. So, you know, if you want a new home, you know, you don't want something that somebody else has lived in, those homes are coming, they're already being built. So now it's just a matter of picking out that right home. And it does a lot of times become like buying a resale, and the fact that, you know, 30, 60, 90 days, you're into your new home.
You are. I've been looking at a lot of those already done, or maybe we just need to pick out, you know, colors or something. So I've been running into a lot of them done already. They've been built, you know, they're a couple months old. And yeah, I mean, you may not pick out everything, but you have a brand new home. So
yeah, and it's definitely pretty neat. I mean, there's so many things to look at, but it's not right for everybody. Now, with new homes, you do have a little bit higher of a price tag typically.
You do.
And it takes you a little longer to realize that financial gain. But what you get back in return, you have the latest and greatest, you know, brand new roof, brand new, you know, utilities. Everything is new. Everything has warranties, which is a nice feature. So, you know, and of course the newest, you know, energy, you know, features usually.
Energy. So
there are some definite pluses there. So you have to figure out when we're planning out the budget, what makes the most sense. Now, me personally, and anybody that knows me, I started in new construction. I've built a lot of homes for people over the years, but I still I like that feeling of an established community, right? It's been there for a while. The trees have been there for a while. Everything's kind of, you know, it's taken shape to what it's supposed to be. So again,
it works both ways. It just really depends on what you want.
Yeah. So, and I looked at a lot of new construction when I came down here, and actually it was kind of funny because we talk about that professionalism, and went into one of the builders down here, and the builder kind of like, you know, the salesperson kind of like leaned out. He's like, tell me what you think. I'm like, well, I think you're lazy. Get off your seat. You know, I mean, I was like, seriously, you're yelling at me from the back room. Tell me what you think. And then I asked him for some pricing because I was new to Florida at the time. And he goes, well, nobody wants to know, you know, every floor plan. So which one are you interested in? I don't know what you offer.
Yes, I don't know what you offer.
Give me the base pricing. Yeah. Right. He goes, well, nobody actually buys the base house, so it's not relevant.
Oh my goodness. Yes, it is relevant.
It is relevant because I gotta know where I'm starting from.
Yes.
And so obviously I didn't go with that builder.
Obvious.
I did meet another builder that was absolutely outstanding, Passage Island, which is a semi-custom builder, very similar to what I was doing up in Maryland, the semi-customs and stuff. And they were great. The salesperson, because I was new down here, she took about 2 hours to explain everything. You know, on the building, the building parameters here in Florida, because it's a little different from Maryland. She knew I was a realtor. She knew everything I had, broke it all down, showed me what they could do, what they could, what they couldn't do, but they could do a lot of really cool stuff. And that's kind of where you get a little bit more into the realm of, you know, a semi-custom home. You're getting a lot of the custom features out of the way you want it, but without that heavy-duty price tag of a full custom home that you start from scratch. So there's different ranges for everybody.
Yes, there really is. And I think, you know, going in, and I see so many, you know, buyer clients come in and they see that price on the internet that it says, and that's usually the starting price.
Yes.
So it looks like it's a great deal. And not that it's not a great deal, but you may want to add $50,000 to $100,000 onto that price. So when they're being built, like you said.
Well, and see, that's another thing that you have to consider when you're going into it, because you can get a little bit off track because most builders have a safety precaution in there, because if you go to like the electronics section and all of a sudden we want to add all the crazy 3D TVs and all that stuff and media rooms and stuff, a lot of that stuff doesn't count towards the appraisal.
I was going to say, yeah, you have to come out of your pocket, right? So
you have to be ready and willing to pay that out of pocket if that doesn't match up. So a lot of little things, you know, that go into it, which really is why we're talking about it, because some people will walk into the model and they don't realize that you still rate having representation.
Right.
And when you walk into that model, that person is there to do their job, and they're going to do a good job. But at the end of the day, they represent the builder.
Absolutely.
So realistically, whether you're buying a new home or a resale, you really need to consult and have a realtor, somebody there that's going to negotiate on your behalf.
And know to ask the questions that you don't know.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
yeah, there's a lot of things. I used to talk about all the freak out points with new construction, because when you start digging, people always would call me up. Oh, the hole's too big. Oh, the foundation's too small. Because until it becomes a house, most of us do not do it every day.
No.
So just like writing that contract, building a home is very difficult to see it if it's not there.
That is so true.
So, and that's why doing like a fully custom home is very difficult for people, because there's nothing there.
Yeah, you're starting from scratch.
You're starting, and it's all on paper, and you just got to kind of see it in your head. That's where when you go into one of these new homes communities, now at least they have models, and maybe it's not the one that's going to be on your lot, but you can start to see what your home could potentially look like.
And the last model that I had gone into, I did love that they had something by, like, in the kitchen and in the bathrooms, and told you what the upgrades were. Which I usually, you knew I was getting
No. So obviously we're going to talk about our conversation with Bob here in a little bit, but it just reminded me. So we actually had a home being built, and we were building a home, and we were closing the week after Easter Sunday, right? That week right after Easter, the house was done, and it was Easter Sunday, and I was setting up a new office, so I was just enjoying my day. It was quiet, and one of my clients called me up. Now we had become pretty good friends, and she calls me up, and she's like, and I was thinking, because like I'm friends with the family, the whole bit. I'm thinking she's going to invite me over to have like a drink with her and the hubby and the family and stuff. She calls me up and she's like, "Hey, Chris, what's up?" I'm like, "Nothing. What's going on?" And she was like beating around the bush. I'm like, what do you got to say? So she says, "Oh, are you in the model?" I said, "No, I'm not." She says, "Oh, that's too bad." I said, "Okay, what's up?" She goes, "Oh, well, I just figured I'd let you know somebody's breaking into one of your houses." I'm like, whoa, you could have led with that, right? So, of course, now I'm freaking out. So we're closing on this house like 3 days later. I go running down there. I call the cops. I'm 20 minutes away. I'm screaming down there, and I'm in my truck, and I got a trailer hooked to the back. I'm going as fast as I can, getting down there.
Fishtailing all
I call the police. They get there. By the time I get there, apparently the guy was gone. Then he came back. So when I came screaming around the corner, there's a bunch of cops, lights and everything on, and I see this guy pressed up against the garage door, and this woman down by the street. And I was like, oh, I know that woman. And I look at the guy up against the garage door. I'm like, crap, I know him too. Well, we were building him the exact same house in a different community, but we had not built his house yet. It was just in permitting. So he wanted to see what that house looked like on the inside. So he decided to climb in through a window. Oh my
goodness.
So when I got there, he says, well, I didn't want to bother you on Easter Sunday. I was like, oh, this is so much better. So much better. So, but guys, listen, if you're buying a new home and you want to see what it looks like, let the salesperson know. They'll let you in. It's all part of the part of the program. That's hilarious. It's all good. So, but
you just can't make this stuff up.
No. And of course, the cops are like, "Do you want to press charges?" I'm like, "Yes, I do, but I can't." So, but anyway. But listen, guys, we got to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Not crypto coins, not penny stocks. The best tool to build wealth is still real estate. I'm Chris Nolan of the Nolan Group of eXp Realty. Invest today and allow your real estate to provide a future for your family tomorrow. We'll show you the way. Visit mynexthomefinder.com.
Right now at Sunshine Furniture, it's New Year sale time. We're clearing our warehouses to make room for new styles, and this means you can save on selected in-stock furniture from Lloyd Flanders, Beechcraft, Windward, Riverside, Universal, Capri, Telescope, and more. Sofas, dining sets, patio groups, occasional chairs, cabinets, bedroom sets, tables, lots of pieces on sale for inside and out. At Sunshine Furniture, we have the largest selection of coastal furniture anywhere, including a gallery of Lexington, Tommy Bahama Home, and Universal Coastal Living collections. Visit Sunshine Furniture now for our New Year sale. Also, all pictures, lamps, and accessories are half price. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in Vero Beach. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com, and don't forget to shop our outlet and sales store just across the street.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Have a sunshine day. Sunshine.
Are you a tax whiz? Do numbers just make sense to you? Or maybe you're looking to connect with your neighbors. United Way's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program needs volunteers just like you this tax season. As a VITA volunteer, you'll help low-income residents keep their hard-earned money and save on costly tax preparation services. Opportunities vary. Become a tax preparer, greeter, interpreter, or clerical assistant. No experience is necessary. Perfect for students or retirees. Sign up today at UnitedWayIRC.org. That's UnitedWayIRC.org.
Advertising is essential. You've got to make people aware that you're there. We can do that with a cohesive marketing campaign from Evergreen Media. Based on your business goals, we'll create a mix of digital advertising on social media sites like Facebook, video advertising on streaming sites like Hulu and Paramount Plus, and supplement them with local TV and radio ads. Build awareness, educate, and inform the public with a cohesive marketing campaign by Evergreen Media. Check out egreenmedia.com or search online for Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Hey everybody, we're back, and we were just talking about new construction and all the pluses, and we got a lot of great stuff. Had some really funny stories with some of this stuff too. They were just asking me on the break how many times that's happened. That was the only time I remember somebody actually breaking in and somebody calling the cops. But I did.
It was all innocent, which was a great thing.
I did have another guy though that he was concerned about the crime in the area. So during the construction phase, he wanted to see like if there was going to be, if there was a lot of thefts in the area. So he left a cooler out on the construction site. So I go there to do my weekly checks. I see this old cooler there, and it was just an old beat up cooler. And I asked all the guys because we didn't like junk on the work site. So I asked if anybody belonged to anybody. They said no. So I threw it away. And he calls me up. He's like, "Oh man, somebody stole my cooler." Like, what are you talking about? I said, "Yeah, I left the cooler to see if anybody would steal it, and somebody stole it." Like, no, man, that was a piece of junk. I threw it away. So don't leave stuff on a construction site if you don't own the property until you own the property.
Yes.
So, but yeah, it was rather humorous. So all sorts of crazy stuff. But going back just for a minute, let's talk about this Conversations with Bob thing. All right. So I had a conversation with Bob a while back, and I was out with a higher end client, and we were looking at waterfront properties, single families and condos. So we had been out most of the day, and we're on our last showing, and we show up, and I look at the showing instructions, and it said, this was a gated community. It says, when you approach the gate, follow the car through the gate. When you get in, not park in the guest parking, and then there'll be somebody in the lobby to let you through, and then you go up to the, it was a condo, so you had to go up to whatever floor. And, I mean, you can't put that in the MLS, right? You need access. Right. So now I know this particular community, and this was one that the listing agent's supposed to go there and let the people in. Right. He chose not to do that. So I was a little irritated with the whole thing anyway. It was starting to rain, so I'm calling him up. We got there, somebody let us in through the gate, but not into the building. So now I'm irritated. It's a long day. We're tired. So I call up the listing agent. I'm like, listen, what is the deal? You got us here. We're in the rain. Right. He says, here's what you do. And I kid you not, this is what he said to me. He says, go back outside the gate. When you go back outside the gate, there's a fountain in front of the gate. Behind the fountain is a white box. Next to the white box is a white pipe. Connected to the white pipe is a blue hose. Follow the blue hose to the end. The tip is on a rock. The key is under the rock. All right. That is not professional, folks. No, it's not. Okay? You're on a scavenger hunt. It breaks all sorts of rules. But that is not professional. So, guys, if your agent does not have a clear, concise way to protect your property, don't do it. Sending somebody on a scavenger hunt is not the way to get highest price on your home. No. So not at all. Look, I have a problem when folks put the electronic boxes up so high because there's nowhere else to put it. I'm like, just put it on the hose bib. I'm good with that. I'm 5'1". I cannot reach all the way at the top. You know how they hang them up really high, like on the bring a step ladder. I'm like, how am I supposed to, not only, I mean, first of all, I need like a chair or a step ladder, but then I need to be able to, if it's a combo, I need to be able to do the combo. You just can't reach it. Come on. Put it on the hose bib then. Put it on the hose. I've seen them on bushes. I've seen them on all kinds of things. I had one the other day. It was on a super box, right? Which I don't understand this. So super, right? So we need an electronic key that only realtors have to get into this thing. Right. So I open up the box and the little panel pops out and I shook it. Right. There's no key in there. Right. So now I'm a little irritated. So, but then when I shook it, a piece of paper came out with instructions that there was a lockbox on the left side of the house with the combination. Are you kidding me right now? I'm dead serious. Why would you do that? That makes no sense. But it happened. And you just can't make it up. No, not at all. Not at all. We went on one, actually, and talk about contractors. Right. We went on one, we had some new agents on the team, so we went out to go do some previews on some properties, and we got to the property, and the doorbell was inside the front door. So you had to open up the front door, and then the doorbell was on the inside. They had enclosed the front porch to make it more living area, but they never moved the doorbell out. I can't. So I can't. Yeah, guys, you got to make sure you're using quality contractors, realtors, all your service providers, and that's what we want to make sure. So give us a call. We'll make sure you have all the proper people so that you get the job done right. Yeah. You know, we were just talking about permits, right? The building, right? Again, new construction is an awesome tool. But if you don't use a reputable builder, right? Yeah. What happens if they go under in the middle of the build? You lose it all. Yeah, depending on how it was set up. Depending on how it was set up and the contract and everything. Smaller builders. No, I mean, there's not some really great smaller builders, but you have to make sure that they know what they're doing and really check into them. Yeah, absolutely. So look at what they're doing. Make sure you have somebody that's reviewing the contract on your behalf. They can check all the all the stats on them. Make sure they're doing what they're supposed to. Absolutely. So, and I'm not trying to scare anybody by any means. There's some great people out there, but we got to make sure that we're all staying safe. And real estate is an awesome investment. It's a great way to increase your way of life, your quality of life. And we want to make sure that that whole scenario is a pleasant one for you.
Because it can be very, very stressful.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go on.
And talking about new builds and pre-owned homes, because, you know, you and I both, when we moved here, we looked at new builds.
Right.
There was a few different reasons, and we all have our own personal reasons why we chose what we chose and why we didn't go with new builds, whether it was taking a long time, and that was one of the main reasons, but I also wanted some other specific things that I couldn't get with a new build. But warranties.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody worries about taking on someone else's problems. Get a home warranty.
Yeah.
Get a home warranty. Even if the seller doesn't offer it, or if the seller says, no, I'm not getting you one, get one yourself. I mean, at least for the first year.
Yeah.
So you know if something does, like the refrigerator or the AC or something, you know, you'll have that as backup.
We actually, I'm actually in the middle of vetting a company right now, and once I finish, I'll let everybody know.
Mm-hmm.
But they're a warranty company. They have contractors in-house. So a lot of the warranty companies, you know, people complain because you got to go through all these third parties and they try and, you know, negotiate.
Yes.
These people have actual contractors right in-house. So I'm interested to see how they work.
I can't wait until you tell me about that, because I'm so used to using specific ones, and I'm not going to really say those on air, but I have one on one of my homes right now, and I haven't had a problem. They have someone come out, except getting those third-party contractors to actually show up.
Right.
But usually you let that company know, look, they didn't show up, they hire someone else. But that would be great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's that way with everything out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's always, unfortunately, a 10% that makes everybody else look bad.
That is so true.
You know, so it just is what it is.
Yep.
So, you know, but we want to make sure that you guys have the path to the best possible, you know, contractors and everything.
I love it.
And safety when selling your house. So we're not going to be putting your key under a rock. So
by the white pipe.
Follow
the blue hose.
Yeah. In the rain, you know, do a little magic dance. We're all good. So.
And your box won't be up so high that short agents can't reach it.
Yes. We're very conducive to the vertically challenged. So
Jesse, you hear this? Jesse, how tall are you over there?
I like to say that I'm 5'11.5".
You see how he got that half in?
I gotta get that half in. Yeah.
His wife is laughing right now.
She is. Because sometimes I'll say I'm 6 feet, and she's like, no way. No way. You're shorter than me, which there's no way I'm shorter than her. But
I had a random guy walk up to me in the grocery store. Never met him before. He walks up. I'm 5'5", right? I know I'm not tall. But he walks up to me and goes, "How tall are you?" I said 6'5", and I walked away. Why would you ask? You ask me a stupid question, you're going to get a stupid answer.
I like that.
That's good.
I'm going to have to use that, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But, you know, there's some crazy stuff out there. So, guys, Bob is a real person. He's out there, and he infects a lot of people. Okay? So, I'm just saying. So, if your name is really Bob, I'm sorry. It just...
Yes. Yeah. We had to name it something.
Yeah, so, but...
That is great.
Yeah,
That's great.
It's definitely humorous, and we get to see all sorts of cool things, but we get to build some really great things. You know, great homes, great relationships, great communities, and I'm excited for what's happening next. 23 is off to a great start. We have a lot of different options. If you've been on the sidelines and you're nervous about what the media says, give us a call.
Yes.
We can help you design a plan to get you there when the time is right for you. There's always a good time. You know, it's always a good time for somebody.
Right.
We got to figure out what the plan is for you. Right. So
whether that is new construction, which we can help you with, or a pre-owned.
Yep. Either or. So guys, remember, HLewis at thenolangroup.com, cnolan@thenolangroup.com. Send us a message. Come check us out. We're located in the Bank of America building right here in Vero, in Miracle Mile, 601 21st Street. We're Suite 100, right on the first floor next to Bank of America. Come check us out. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us to your new home, and we'll see you again next week. Bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.